Hi everyone, it's Jordan and Lucy again, and today we want to talk about a famous Bible story, and we're going to do it in the context of a song. Are you leaving me already? Fine. I guess I'm talking about a famous Bible story in the context of a song. Thanks for joining us, Lucy. So anyway, this story is found in Genesis, and I'm going to just start with the story for some people who may or may not know it. We'll explain the story and then we'll talk about the song. So this is the story of Noah building the ark. So people had become, back in that time, people had become so wicked and so against God that the Bible story says that God was going to send a huge flood to completely wipe out everything, all the creatures, all the people who were so wicked and disobedient toward him. He was just going to send a flood to completely wipe out everything on the earth. But God spoke to a man named Noah and told him that this was going to happen. And said to Noah, he said, I want you to build a boat. Not a tiny boat, a huge boat, an ark is what they called it. So that when the rains come, Noah and his family and 2 of every animal would be safe and would be able to survive the unsurvivable flood. So there's a couple of points that I want to make as we go through this. The first thing is that no one had ever even seen rain before at this time, which is something I always forget, and I think it's easy for us to forget because we're so used to rain. It rained here yesterday. It rains all the time. They had never seen rain before. So the thought of a flood, I'm sure, just boggled Noah's mind. It just made no sense to him, I am sure. Also, this boat did not just take a couple of weeks or a couple of months to build. I had originally thought it took 100 years. Googling it finds out there's no way to be sure about that. Maybe it was more like 75 years. But either way, this was a long, long process. This was not something that he just did on a whim or just did in his spare time one weekend. This took a lot of years, potentially 75 years to build. And people mocked him for it. People would walk by and they would laugh at him for it. They would say, what are you doing? There's no rain coming. Nothing's going to happen. But in the end, the flood did come, just like God had said it would. And it did wipe out everyone, just like God had said it would, except for Noah and his family. Because Noah trusted and obeyed. He trusted what God had said, and he obeyed when God called him to do something, to act on it. So this song, some of you might have guessed it, I don't know. It's called Build a Boat by Colton Dixon. And it kind of, to me, maps out what would Noah's faith journey must have been like. What would that must have been like for Noah to have to build that and go through all of those years of wondering and being mocked, and what must he have come to in his heart and in his mind to continue doing that? And that's what I think this song kind of, teases out somewhat. I've been wandering through the desert. Ain't seen a cloud in forever over me, but I believe your rain is coming. I've been hanging on to high hopes, 'cause you're the one who's making dry bones come to life, and you're the light I put my trust in. Every word you say is gonna come true. You will lead me to the promised land. Everything you say is gonna happen, even though I haven't seen it yet. I will build a boat in the sand where they say it never rains. I will stand up in faith. I'll do anything it takes. With your wind in my sails, your love never fails or fades. I'll build a boat in the desert place. And when the floods and the waters start to rise, I'll ride the storm, 'cause I've got you by my side. With your wind in my sails, your love never fails or fades. I'll build a boat to let it rain. You're the map, you're my compass. You help me navigate the current underneath. Take the lead, I surrender. 'Cause every word you say is gonna come true. I will build a boat, so let it rain. Just think about how Noah must have had to just be so sure that what God said was going to happen. Think about the steps of faith that took. It's easy for us to just read over the story because we know where the ending is. We know what happens. But back then, he knew only because of faith. I'll put it that way. He knew only because he believed what God had said. And think about how hard that must have been day after day, year after year, to continue building it until the day that the flood actually finally did arrive. So what areas of your life do you maybe need to just hold on to the promises of God, hold on to what God has said to you? I'll tell you a personal story about how this song has spoken to me in my life. Now, the personal stories for some reason are the ones that don't come quite so easily for me to tell, so bear with me as I try to say this. I think almost all of you know that I've had a lung transplant, and that about a year ago, my lung function level went from here to about here. It had about a 20-point drop that was completely out of the blue, was not expected. No one understood it. No one knew why it was happening. But when something like that happens, it's pretty serious, because it could mean something pretty bad. It could mean that pretty much one of your worst fears is coming true, and there's not typically a good ending to that. Before I continue, I want to say that God gets the glory for this, that it has been pretty much completely stable since then. So don't worry about me. This is something that happened a year ago. We're still monitoring it, but so far it's hanging in there. But back then, we didn't know. We didn't know if it was going to stay stable or if it was going to keep dropping. So that's kind of the backdrop. So about a year ago, we're on the way home from the hospital, having just done one of those lung function tests where we got confirmation that it was not just some, arbitrary number. It was not a false report. It was actually a good bit lower than what it was supposed to be. We had just gotten confirmation of that by doing another test and getting the same result. And we were pretty concerned. My mom and I were driving on the way home. I'll never forget it. On the way home from the hospital, and not really knowing where we stood. And of course I was pretending like I wasn't crying or upset, but I was crying. And then my mom had literally just said to me, "This is our build a boat moment." She said, "We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know where things are gonna go. But this is where we take a step in faith." And for Noah, that meant building a huge boat. For us, that just meant surviving the day. For us, that just meant not letting panic and fear decide how we spent the next weeks or months. For us, that just meant surrendering it all to God. My mom just said, this is our build-a-boat moment where God is telling us he's with us. Not, he wasn't saying that everything was going to be okay. We didn't know if everything was going to be okay. But God was saying he was with us. God was saying he was faithful. He was in control. He had a hold on all of this. He was here. He was in the middle of our stories. He was controlling this outcome. And our build-a-boat moment right there was letting it go and understanding all of those things and holding on to all of those things, even in the moment where I thought my worst fear was coming true. And my mom had just said that as an encouragement to me, and she turned up the radio, and guess what song was playing? Build a Boat. And I just started crying because it was such a powerful moment to me that God was saying, yes, I am here. This is going to take a lot of faith, because there's a lot of fear you're in right now, and I understand that. But yes, I am here, and I am in control. And I just wanted to share that story with you, because think of your own moments when maybe you need a build-a-boat moment in your life. And I don't know what it looks like for you. Like I say, for us, it was just getting through the day and allowing God to have control over a really scary situation. For Noah, it was building an entire boat. I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what that moment looks like for you. But I hope that this can encourage you. That so many people in the Bible and so many people throughout their walks with God, we need to have these moments where we just say, you know what, I'm not seeing, things are not looking the way I want them to. I'm not seeing the promises unfold yet. I hear what you say, but I'm not feeling it right now. I'm not seeing it right now. But I'm going to build a boat anyway. I'm going to have faith anyway. I'm going to believe in you anyway, because you are God and you have promised me these things, and I have faith in you. So I'm going to trust what you say, and I'm going to obey it every single day. no matter what, no matter how many years it takes to see that promise unfold, or even if I only see that promise when I get to heaven. I'm gonna believe it, I'm gonna live it, I'm gonna obey you. No matter what, I'm gonna build a boat. I hope that encouraged you guys. God is good all the time. Let's work on areas of our own lives where we can build a boat and we can give all glory to God. Love you guys.